I don't think I can. Also, I'm just sitting here listening to my own stream, so I can make sure things go okay. I'm not good at this yet, guys, but boy howdy will I end up good eventually. Do people say boy howdy? Probably not. You're welcome, the Earth. Alright. Usually, Monday nights I would just be doing a podcast, trying to get things ready for my Tuesday release, but I also wanted to try to create some Twitch/YouTube content, so let's just put it all together. Let's just shove it all into one thing. I wanted to play some Desert Strike, the classic, because I used to play it a lot back when StarCraft 2 first came out. It was one of the more decent maps created in the custom campaign. And even beyond that, there was really cool custom stuff for the original StarCraft that I loved. Oh, great. The game that I wanted to join is no longer available. Okay. So, I mean, this might end up being terrible to listen to as far as podcast content goes. But, I'm pretty used to my podcast content not being top-notch and kind of just being by the seat of my pants, whatever I want it to be. So I figured I would double dip into creation and do a little bit of both. But the only problem with that is now on stream, I feel like I'll have to be talking constantly, which is slightly annoying, but maybe better. A lot of the non-classic ones going. Maybe I'll have to just play the newer one. I'll do one more refresh. Desert Strike Legacy. Let's try it. Let's try a Legacy one. But yeah, I mean, I guess when StarCraft 2 first came out, I bought the big special edition one. That was like the Terran door opening thing. Yeah, and I played the hell out of that thing just because I felt like I didn't really have much else. I bought a couple games on Steam that I could play, but I was always a huge fan of StarCraft, and so I decided to play anything and everything I could, including all of the custom stuff that is made by fans. You know, it's user-generated, community-generated stuff for StarCraft, and so I fell in love with that stuff. There is some amazing game developers, specifically that just make stuff, custom stuff for StarCraft, and so why not show some of that off and nostalgia trip. People keep quitting this thing, so I guess this is really just turning into a podcast at this point. But yeah, it all started with me going into the customs and seeing things like Desert Strike. There was Hero Wars. There was a few other ones that I didn't play as often, but that all stemmed from my love of the use map settings custom stuff from the original StarCraft, way back in the early 2000s when I was getting into that. And there was crazy stuff in there that I really enjoyed. Somebody created a thing called DBZ All Sagas, which was all the sagas that we knew of for Dragon Ball Z, from like I think it started with the Ginyu Saga all the way through Buu. And I forgot that I am also cooking at the same time as doing all this, so I'm going to go take a thing out of the oven. I'll be right back, chat. Don't get too large without me. Okay, cool. I mean, my kitchen's right there. It's not too bad to go back through. But, yeah, the original StarCraft had insane custom map creations. And, you know, like I think it was, original came out in 97, Brood War expansion pack came out in 99, and I played the custom maps and stuff constantly, even through, like, 2006, you know, like, just a crazy amount of longevity out of this little RTS game, and it's not little. It's one of the biggest games in the world. But still, the fact that a game can be that relevant, that later on in its life cycle, is kind of endearing. It really made me love Blizzard. The fact that they would put out a map builder within the game that was so customizable that people could create such intricate things, even creating their own campaigns and things. Like, I know one of the biggest and craziest campaigns that was created separately from regular StarCraft and Brood War was called Legacy of the Confederation, and it kind of imagined like a different story in a different world with the same races, Protoss, Terran, Zerg, because you can't really do much else. But they created, some of their own custom unit stuff. They had all their own personal voiceover work. It was really intricate, and I really thought that was cool. I could never figure out how to get that mod to run, because I was 10, but I watched someone else play it on YouTube recently, and it was Jay Barino Plays. Go check him out on YouTube. But I watched him play through a lot of StarCraft stuff, and that really made me kind of nostalgic for it. So yeah, playing all those original StarCraft custom campaign things. They had this thing called Matrix, which was really just like 8 people on a map, and you had your little bunker hub, and the game's finally starting. But you had your own little bunker, and it spawned units, and the more kills you got, like the more units you would get, and so it was kind of like a little microcosm of how StarCraft usually is, which is, like you have a unit, you go and you create an economy. This kind of forewent all of the economy and just said, here's some units, amass some units and go kill. And that was really cool. Even up into some... I remember there was one specifically, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was just kind of shitting on anyone who didn't know all the deep little intricate bugs in StarCraft. And you had, it was an obstacle course, but you had to do all the little game-breaking bugs that people used to know. Like, you would have a Zergling, and if you burrowed it next to this cloaking unit that you could only have as another race and unburrowed it at the right time, it would be invisible, and that's not a thing that race is supposed to be able to do. It really fascinated me that someone made a game specifically around the game-breaking bugs. And in that they had other games, I think, like Desert Strike. And my personal favorite way back in the day was the Lord of the Rings ones. They had just straight-up Helm's Deep battles, which was really cool. But instead of Helm's Deep, you could also just do... I think it was Legacy of the... It was either Second or Third Age. And there was this huge map... the Zerg was all the Mordor evil units. And so you could play as Mordor, you could play as what is it, the evil men, whatever they were. And yeah, it was really fun, and it spawned units in specific areas depending on the size of your economy that you could upgrade in there, that you could get through kills, through your little heroes they would give you. And it was just a very large, epic thing that was supposed to be Lord of the Rings. They named all the units, but it was in StarCraft, and StarCraft was merely just the vessel with which someone created an amazing Lord of the Rings game. And I don't know that they've ever made a good Lord of the Rings RTS game. I know that they did make some, but I can't speak to how good they are. But if someone were to ask me what my favorite Lord of the Rings RTS game is, it would just be StarCraft. So, yeah, I don't know. I was a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, and I still am. And I have always been a huge StarCraft nerd. And so those two meeting was just wonderful. And I wasn't as big of a Dragon Ball Z nerd until I got super into the DBZ All Sagas stuff. I still remember some of the secrets you could do, like where you would put your unit on the map in order to gain a secret advantage. Some of them very game-breaking secret advantages that were a little too much. But if you were playing by yourself or if someone lagged out, it actually really helped. But yeah, so that's the history of me and StarCraft that I felt like talking about. And really the only reason I felt like talking about that was because I went on a whole ass nostalgia trip with my sisters about video games this weekend. We've all been getting heavy into Among Us, and so, you know, we got our own little crew of people we've been playing with. We played a little bit with my cousin too, and yeah, we got in there. We were all at my mom's house, but my mom and my stepdad felt kind of ignored because we were all just around the dinner table playing Among Us, and it was a great time for us. We didn't have to deal with them much. But yeah, we were playing Among Us, and then having all of us together gaming kind of reminded me of how all of us started video game stuff back in the day, which was on our old PC that my dad used to keep like in his room, so we'd have to like share a lot. But we were broke as shit, right? So my dad got us this like, over 150 games in one CD, Game Empire CD, which was a fuckload of like shareware DOS games. Now, looking back, I had no idea the amount of amazing games that were on there. I had Doom and Wolfenstein 3D, a bunch of all the old Duke Nukem side-scrollers, a bunch of stuff. But we were always really into some of the puzzle ones or the little adventure and action ones. One that we were always bad at but kept coming back to because of how much it pissed us off was a game called Hugo's House of Horrors, which was essentially just a text-based game, which I kind of hate those. Like, I've never been a big fan of those, unless it was the the Strong Bad one. Which was, I think, the Trogdor one from way back in the day. But, yeah, it was just a bunch of DOS games and stuff, you know. It was... I'm losing my train of thought because I'm sitting here trying to play StarCraft at the same time. Hold on. Give me 1 second on that train of thought while I move my little webcam around. There we go. Now I can see my own map. Cool. So, yeah, we had Game Empire. I was super into... Oh, my teammate's mad at me because I'm not doing anything. I was super into a game called Superfly, and there was a bunch of other little tricky little games. Jetpack, that was the one that I really loved. Jetpack was just a guy with a jetpack, and you went around and had to collect stuff on a jetpack in the certain levels, and it was a cool game, guys. I promise. I hear a cat. I have a cat meowing at me. He's already been fed, so I don't know what his problem is. Game Empire was really cool. I kind of miss those games and want to get them again someday. Because a lot of those games apparently ended up being huge games. A Petri dish. A Petri dish. The Petri dish. This is a Petri dish. There we go. Jesus Christ. I'm still trying to figure this thing out, guys. And we're losing. Cool. Yeah, but I'm just full of nostalgia. And wanted to talk about it. The Game Empire disc had it split up into, like, genres. So you could go action games, adventure games, puzzle games. Yeah, and so it was I was always more of a fan of the action games because I didn't know how to read back then. So like even if I did play the adventure games, it's like, I don't know what's going on, you know. So I like the ones where you got to shoot stuff. There was one where it was like guys parachuting in, and you were a gun on the ground, and you had to shoot at them before they touched the ground, and you could only have like 10 of them touch the ground before you lost. And then we were actually talking this weekend about a game called Hexagon, which was like this hexagon-shaped board, and you were a bunch of little jelly gems, and you had to take over the board, and there was these little rules in there I don't want to get into because I don't want to get into the details of that game. It was fun. It was a fun little puzzle game, and we thought about stealing it and making our own because it would be a real fun game to play on your phone. Someone probably already did it, but you know, if I ever wanted a get-rich-quick scheme, but the quick was learning game development and then getting super into it, I would totally do it. But I don't think I could because I'm not that good at stuff. But what other games on Game Empire was there that I super enjoyed? There was like a shitty Street Fighter ripoff game. Oh, you know what? We also talked about one of my favorite games of all time is also Final Fantasy VII. And the way we got into that game was we got an old, I think it was an IDOS interactive demo disc, and it had like Tomb Raider, and it had not StarCraft, God, I've got StarCraft on the brain because it's in front of me, but it had Tomb Raider, it had Thief, it had Final Fantasy VII, and we played the shit out of that thing. Like, I was talking with my sister, and like, we played it so much that we honestly started to believe if we played it just the right way, we would unlock more parts of the game. Like, we didn't really understand how demos worked. So we thought if we like did specific things, maybe it would give us just a little more. You know how like if you 100% some games, you can get something out of it. But that was not the case because that's not like a thing that you can get in a demo. But we believed, guys. We believed so hard. Oh, my leg itches. But yeah, this is the first time I've set up my PC setup. I finally set up my PC gaming game. I actually haven't had a gaming PC ever in my life. I can't think of a time that I specifically, like, my family has always had computers when I was growing up. And some of them were able to run games, usually things that were easy to run, like StarCraft or World of Warcraft was one we were really into when I was a teenager. But now, for the first time ever, I am not a laptop guy. I have gone into the realm of PC gaming. And I'm hoping I can keep doing that, and I am getting decimated. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I did real bad there. Oh, this game's hard, guys. I don't remember this game being this hard. Then again, maybe it's changed. Maybe the balance is different. Maybe I just have never actually been that good at games. You know? These things, they happen. I don't know what to do about it. Honestly, I've never been that good at games. I've always very much been a casual gamer, but that never stopped me from like thinking I could rule the world through video games. You know, I never thought I could be a streamer, I guess, until now, because I'm like, why not? I got like half the stuff, and if I'm playing games, might as well stream it out to the world, because what else is there to do? But yeah, I figured games are always going to be a part of my life because I like video games too much. They're a great release, and so I figured why not try a little harder? You know, I got a lot of things that I always do. Why not try a little harder in the areas of things I enjoy? and would do as a day job if that was a thing I could do. So here I am. Boy, we are losing our ass, and it is kind of my fault. Oof. Big oof. Yeah, the game that I'm playing, because if I release this as a podcast, you'll have no idea. It's kind of a tug-of-war map, and the way that works is, we have bases on either side, and we send units out in waves against each other, and there's teams of 3 on either side, and we are building the buildings in StarCraft that represent a certain unit and a certain amount of that unit, and we just gain a certain amount of our minerals, which is our cash in this game, each round, and with that we can build more of those buildings, so every round when it comes around we can send out more units against the other team. And I have spent the entire time talking and not really paying attention to the push and pull of the game. So because of that, I am not exactly holding up my end of the bargain. But whatever, these games are supposed to be for fun. These ones aren't like a big competitive thing. I mean, I guess some people probably are super competitive about them. It would make sense. I get very competitive about things that, don't matter to other people. But that's just because I like to win. I am a winning person. If I am not accomplishing, I don't feel like I have done anything. So failure is the opposite of accomplishing, and I don't like that. But that's just some psychology for you guys. A little peek behind the curtains of my brain. But yeah, so where was I at before in the past, in the nostalgia trips? Final Fantasy VII and that demo. That's right. So yeah, when we were kids, we didn't have much. We had one Super Nintendo and 3 games until like 2000. We did not get any of the other consoles as we went. And so the little demo discs and the little games we did have, we played the shit out of them. It wasn't until like 2 years of playing that Final Fantasy VII demo. No, even more than that, because we didn't get that Final Fantasy VII game till like 2000. It wasn't until like 3 years of playing that demo that my dad was finally like, okay, this is a thing that you guys have consistently asked for and have never stopped talking about. So he bought us the PC version of Final Fantasy VII, I believe at like a BX on a military base in Anchorage one time when we were visiting. And I still have that. I still have the little box, like a pyramid-shaped box, some sort of quadrangle. And I got all the little inserts with the exception of the keyboard overlay, because that got munched up as we used it through the years. But boy, I still love Final Fantasy VII so much. It's my favorite thing. I was so happy about the remake, and it didn't disappoint either. It was really good, and yeah, that's my history in gaming. For me is, a lot of StarCraft, a lot of Final Fantasy VII. If I had to think about what really got me into casual gaming, I guess, as a gamer, I was a casual gamer, but I'm a very serious casual gamer, if that's a thing. I used to play a lot of Flash games. A lot of stuff on Newgrounds, and then after Newgrounds, Congregate, because I could get GameStop points from Congregate. I played a lot of Flash games, and some of them are super dope, I'm pretty sure the guy from Newgrounds created the game Alien Hominid just on Newgrounds first, and then it got like a PS2 release eventually, and that was super dope. That was the first case for me, at least, of knowing about an indie game and then seeing an indie game get a real release as if it was respected. And so it's kind of weird. I don't actually play as much indie games now. I guess maybe mobile games can count, but yeah, I don't play as much of indie games like I did back in the day. But I was very much addictinggames.com was another one, and of course things like E-Bombs World, but that was mostly just for fun, inappropriate videos. Yeah, so I was super into casual gaming, which is strange, but I think we all kind of did that, because especially if you were at school, if they didn't block a certain site or you could figure out a way around the firewall, especially in middle school, we would play that stupid little helicopter game, which you just had to, like hold down the mouse button for however long, and for lunch we would just play that shit in the science lab or something. So I've always been some kind of gamer. I just never knew, like beyond game design and game testing, that it was ever going to be anything other than a fun little pastime. And I guess it still is a fun little pastime. Like people watch games as an escape, because sometimes people can't afford games or an entire gaming PC and the stuff to make all these high-end crazy games work. And so they can instead just watch a personality they enjoy blow through a game that they have wanted to play and kind of get the same experience. And so, maybe I can do that. That's always the way I've approached everything I always do. It's just like, hey, this is a cool thing, maybe I can do that. And then I start doing it. And then sometimes I stop, sometimes I don't. Hopefully this is one of those things that I don't stop doing, because I like it. I like games. I used to love G4 TV. I'd love to be a personality on that again. Or not again, I've never been one, but it's coming back, and I may or may not have submitted just to see if I could throw my hat in the ring for content creation. Or hosting something. I'm a smiley face. But yeah, if not, this is still fun to do. I want to judge stuff, and talk about stuff. I've actually thought about things I could do on YouTube, bringing my little podcast idea just into a video format to make it more interesting. The I don't hate it idea, which is just taking albums that either randomly from a stack or just taking viewer suggestions, whatever it may be, and listening all the way through it, giving my ideas, and finding the things that I don't hate about it. I don't want to be negative or anything. I'm tired of putting negativity out into the world. So I just wanted to maybe make a little show that highlights how to find the good and stuff, because positivity is important. And that's all I want to do, is be a positive guy. Stop being this big old negative Nancy all the time. Speaking of being a negative Nancy, I talk about it on the podcast a lot, and I haven't ever talked about it on a stream or anything, but I've been real into getting my mental health under control. Went to my psychiatrist today, got my medication stuff all refigured out, because there have been some errors over the quarantine days, and now I think I'm all squared away with the ability to get better and do things better for myself. So I'm real excited about that, to hopefully be able to get through to myself. I don't know how I want to phrase it. I want the ability to be the best me that I can be. I feel like it's coming. I feel like I'm almost there. I'm almost the me that I want to be. Just a few more little tweaks here and there, and I will be all set. And in the game, we've been holding on pretty steady, except for right now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm trying not to be too distracted by the words that I'm saying. So if I seem like I'm just kind of barreling through words, not really connecting much together, you would be right. But yeah, I don't know. I like stuff. That's why I don't watch a lot of movies, you know? Like, I do love movies and things, but I don't really have that much of a discerning eye. Like, I'll watch a shitty movie all the way through for fun. Just because, like, I'll find things to like about it. And oh, yeah, we lost. Oh, boy. Yeah, so well, that one sucked. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, I like stuff. And just because I'm critical of something or want to find things to say about something, it doesn't mean that I hate it. I very much like to parse the things that I enjoy or don't enjoy and just kind of find things to say about it or to process about it, because that's important to me. It's how I remember things. Things fall out of my brain if I don't kind of try to process them in front of me. You know, one of the big things that I know I do a lot is, like, if something's not my favorite, people will think that I'm talking shit about it, or, you know, maybe I am being condescending or talking down to it. I don't know. I can do that, but I'm really just trying to dissect it into little edible chunks for myself. You know, like, I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it's an amazing show, but I was always trying to, like, guess the little parts that are going to happen next, to try to break down the archetypes of characters, to try to, you know, metabolize them for myself and use it to compare to other things that I've watched. And my girlfriend hated that. She was like, "Why are you always talking shit? Why do you hate everything?" And I was like, I'm not. I like this show. I'm just trying to figure it out, you know? Like, what do I like about it? Why do I like the things I like? Do I like this thing? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. But we watched other stuff, like the what is it, Dragon Prince, that's made by a lot of the same writers for Avatar. And I was kind of pointing out, like, they use this same archetype here. They're kind of using the same Chosen One story in this area, and they're kind of creating, you know, the same archetypes for the same adventure, but with a brand new world. So the world influences the way these archetypes react to it. And I'm not meaning to call it, like, derivative or anything. What I'm meaning to say is I enjoyed the first time they did this, so I kind of enjoy the second time too. Maybe it's not as genuine as an enjoyment, but hey, you know, it's fun. It's all just fun. We're all just absorbing media. Alright, starting up a new game. Maybe I'll get, you know, 2 of these done, and then I'll just call it a day. Because really, again, this whole thing was just a test my streaming stuff. I think my light's a little bright, actually. I'm gonna turn this guy down a squosh. I look ghostly. There we go. Oops, I was turning my light down and I missed my economy thing. Whoopsie. But the good news is the guy that's against me also missed it, because I think he thought that I was trying to pull some shit. Whatevs. It's all good. So I guess circling all back around. Video game nostalgia. I wanted to play StarCraft specifically because it's kind of the first real game that I fell in love with. A close second being Final Fantasy VII, but StarCraft got there first. And yeah, indie game development also. You know, my love for any kind of non-AAA game also came from StarCraft, you know, because a lot of games, it's not about the storyline or the big, you know, the giant world and, you know, any crazy thing. It's the little things. It's the tiny little intricate details or the simple mechanisms that make a game specifically that game. Like when Minecraft first came out. The way my sister sold it to me, the reason that I spent the $5 on the alpha for that game when she was like, "Oh, it's like Legos but on the internet." I was like, "Fucking sold." That sounds dope. You know, like adults aren't allowed to play Legos, so here I come to play Legos by myself. Then they added monsters and stuff, and that was fun. It only got better. So, you know, I enjoy the little mechanisms in there. There's only a few types of games, so you gotta work with what you got. I know my love for StarCraft isn't just because of its you know, very well balanced unit system or any of that. It's just how fun it is to explore around. How much personalization you can get out of it because of that little map creator they made. All those little fun details. You know, that's a lie. I do really enjoy story. I'm lying. I'm lying a little bit to fit this narrative. But in reality, I very much enjoy a good story. But there are plenty of games that are apparently amazing stories that I don't give a shit about because the game didn't seem fun. It seemed derivative. So any game that can package itself with a good enough story, you know, like it doesn't have to be anything mind-blowing. It doesn't have to be The Last of Us. But it was one of the reasons that the original Titanfall kind of flopped and Titanfall 2 did so well when it came out, is because they were like, oh, people want a campaign? Okay. And so Titanfall 2 had a campaign. Campaign was dope. I liked it. And so I hope more people realize that, like, campaign is important. You still gotta put that stuff in the games. It's kind of, unless you know exactly what you're doing, don't deviate from the known formulas. It's the only reason Call of Duty has been able to stay alive so long is because they just keep cannibalizing any little element that gets them success. You know? Call of Duty started off as a World War II simulator, essentially. Grew into, you know, Black Ops had zombies. That's a real fun group dynamic thing. And then, aside from zombies, now they got Warzone, you know? Get that Battle Royale stuff. Everyone loves a good Battle Royale. And the Battle Royales are huge. There's actually a magic one now. It's like you're a bunch of wizards running around a map casting spells at each other. And that one looks super cool. I kind of want to try it one of these days. But I don't know that I have the wherewithal to figure out a whole new game thing. But hopefully I do. I've only seen one person play it on YouTube, so maybe I gotta research a little more. But I like that there is now, you know, with games becoming more intricate and, you know, processors and graphics getting better, people are kind of able to make whatever they dream of, you know, from the indies on up. And so Battle Royales are really just, you know, people used to love team deathmatch games. Well, fuck it. Make it 50 versus 50. Or 1 versus all. Free for all, everybody. It's kind of fun. I enjoy it. I'm real bad at it. I gotta get better. Maybe I'll stream more Battleground stuff. If you'll all join me. But, you know, who knows? Who knows how stuff goes? I don't. I don't know if Battlegrounds will be just so lame in a couple years, kind of the same way the first-person shooters died out for a second. Or I guess that's a lie. I got bored with them, but they have never been bigger. But it's... RTSs are dying, sadly. It's one of my favorite genres, and that's, for anyone that doesn't know, real-time strategy is just, you know, a top-down game. You run around with units, and there's economy building, and unit control, and macro and micro stuff. I'm terrible at it, but I really enjoy it, because to me, it seems like it takes not necessarily more skill, but a different set of skills. And I really enjoy the strategy of it. I've always enjoyed strategy games. And so, real-time strategies are no different. I did see a really cool new strategy game that's kind of like steampunky, though, that I've been excited to possibly try. Forgot what it's called. Something iron something. It's 2 words, iron's in the name. Look it up on Steam. I don't remember. But like a YouTube ad came up, and I was like, I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I watch a lot of YouTube video game stuff, so they were probably just like, hey, you'll obviously enjoy video games. And so it was a really cool cinematic, very reminiscent of, kind of the epic cinematics that Blizzard puts out for its games. But it was very steampunky and kind of World War II-like, but it had these big, oily-looking mechs. So maybe I'll buy that and play it. Other RTSs I really enjoyed recently are They Are Billions. It's a zombie survival RTS game. It's not, player versus player or anything. It's just you versus the environment, which is really fun, at least for me. The game got a little old, though, because, the elements were always the same. You started off with the same base. There was, they improved your units and your economy, but it got a little repetitive. But it had, this hero element that was cool. You could bring your hero around maps individual style and go kill zombies as the hero. But you never got the hero on the map with your regular thing. So that was kind of lame. I enjoyed the game enough to hope that they make an expansion or They Are Billions 2 to kind of address the things the community didn't enjoy about it as much, because it did get very repetitive, and if you can't really I don't know how to phrase it, but at least in StarCraft, sometimes you would start off with a few buildings, or you'd start off in a certain situation, or you had to survive for a certain amount of time. They Are Billions, it was pretty much just you need to survive this round, or you need to kill everything on this map. It was one of two things. There was never a specific. I guess that's a lie. There was some that was you gotta go destroy this specific thing, but it felt a little repetitive, and I hope they can fix that. I'm pretty sure it's an indie game, so they don't have Blizzard money to go tossing on map creation, and maybe that's not their strong suit. They built a good engine, they built a solid game with a fun, very simple storyline, and so if they can get some developers on board after making a little bit of money, that would be cool, because I very much respected that game. And I played it on PS4. A terrible way to play any RTS is with a controller. But I didn't have a PC to play on, so I just wanted to make sure I could play it. But now I could. Maybe I'll buy it again. I would support them twice. There are certain games that if an indie developer really seems like they tried hard, I'll buy it more than once, for multiple consoles, or I'll gift it to other people. I did that with this game called Defense Grid. It was a tower defense game, but it was very good story, great art direction, great balance in the game, and very replayable in the way they did the challenge modes and the scaling for other stuff. I really liked that game. I kind of hope they made a second one. They did Defense Grid and then Awakening and then Defense Grid 2, and I haven't heard any word on a third one. But 1 and 2 are both fantastic. If you enjoy tower defense games, which not a lot of people do, which I get it, I only enjoy them because of my background in playing way too many Flash games. But if you enjoy a tower defense game, you really can't get better than Defense Grid. Fuck, I loved that game. We are doing much better in this round of this game than we were in the last one that I was playing. So I'm happy. I'm happy and just talk about stuff. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't know much about the current game sphere as far as indie stuff goes, one thing that I've really enjoyed is the Xbox Game Pass, because it really offers casual gamers like myself the opportunity to play great AAA games and a lot of really good indie games for a set price. It's $15 a month, I think, and you have PC and Xbox options. And so for $15 a month, you get like 100 games that you can download, and they tell you like during that month whether they're going to take something off so you can play through it. And honestly, like, think about one new game now is $60. 4 months of Game Pass is the same price. You could get 120 amazing games over 4 months for the same price as one brand new game. And honestly, with the way video games and streaming is, like, I see a bunch of people playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm real jealous. I want to play it, but also, like, I have so many other games that I could be playing, and now that I have a PC, I can play my entire Steam library for once. So yeah, I just support streamers that I see playing fun things that I enjoy and that I want to watch, and then other than that, I play my stuff, and it's all good. I don't know why I'm making it such like a us versus them thing. It's just, hey, there's fun things out there for everybody, and I think we live in an era. It's not homogenized yet, but I do believe that Game Pass it's a better deal, for people like me. Like, when I was growing up, if Game Pass had been a thing, shit, I would have been able to sell that so hard. Be like, hey, Dad, instead of spending $500 every Christmas for the dumb bullshit I want, just get me this. You'll never hear me ask for a game ever again. And that would have been a real easy sell, because I'm pretty sure my dad sunk a good, like, $5,000 into games and gaming systems just in, like, my high school years. I'm pretty sure you could put the amount that I've spent on vehicles and the amount that I have spent on games and or other people have spent on games for me. They would be equally weighted, because games are expensive, man. People can't afford 3 games a month when they're $60 just to start. We can't wait till Black Friday every year in the hopes that the 12 games you want to play in a year are under $30 so we can get them all at once. So I really, really enjoy Xbox Game Pass, and the idea that Xbox is trying to push, which is that gaming can and should be for everyone, and it should be accessible for everyone. So they're buying hard into a lot of exclusives and stuff for Xbox, which is it's a move. PlayStation has been very guarded with their exclusives, which Xbox hasn't. Specifically, I think so it could build this ecosystem, but I think the way Xbox has built themselves to this point is the exact way that gaming is going to go, because especially with discs are stupid now. I don't see how GameStop is going to survive as a company, because having to install a game that you bought a disc for on top of having to have the disc every time you play it is ridiculous. Discs used to make sense because you pop the disc in, you play the game. Done. The fact that you have to pop in a disc and wait for it to install and have the disc in there every time you play, this isn't PC, man. You're not good enough for that, games. So, the fact that console games still living off that whole ecosystem is entirely ridiculous. I really hope it changes. And I could see Xbox really starting to do away with that idea. In fact, they're releasing a smaller version of the console that is specifically just for, their cloud-based gaming stuff. Has a little hard drive in there, has a little I think maybe it's 1 terabyte. You know, like it's not small, but it'll fit whatever games you want to play for that month on there. Sure, you're gonna have to uninstall and reinstall, maybe buy an external hard drive. Who knows? But it doesn't have the CD drive taking up all the space. Be a slimmer design. No disc shit needed. Granted, that means any disc games you have for Xbox One now, you won't be able to play. But who gives a shit? You know, we always just kind of have to deal with the fact now that we can't play those games that we already technically own shortly after buying them. And while there is something to say about the move away from owning games and the move to constantly renting games, I have my own issues with cloud-based stuff as far as it comes for, like, software that I use. You know, like the fact that they're trying to cloud-base all the Adobe stuff and you can't own it. That sucks. But I would gladly cloud stream games. Just because, you know, I don't want a bunch of discs and stuff taking up space. And also, you know, especially some of the older games, once I play through the campaign, I'm done. I don't need that game anymore. So, I don't need a whole huge library of games sitting around taking up space. Even though I was just getting nostalgic for my physical copy of Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I have the digital copy. I don't need a physical copy anymore. The nostalgia's in here, man. I don't need it out there. I don't need it cluttering up my house. I already got a cluttered house. Look behind me. I already got instruments everywhere and too much other physical bullshit. So, do away with physical game stuff. They have been doing it, and it does suck for special editions of stuff. Special editions for games used to be way cooler. You know? Like I said with StarCraft. It was StarCraft 2, their special editions declined rapidly just for StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2, the Terran missions, Wings of Liberty, super cool box, art book. They give you a little USB dog tag that was like Jim Raynor's dog tags, a soundtrack thing, super cool. And then like the Zerg one, they gave you like a mouse pad, and then like a World of Warcraft pet. And then by the time they got to the Protoss one, I think maybe they had like a pylon nightlight. That would have been cool. But other than that, wasn't much. Wasn't much cool stuff. Kinda sucked. But, you know, what can you do? Not much. Can't do much. Alright. Do I have to start getting serious about the game now? Almost. Almost got to start. Boy, I have been talking a lot. Hopefully I can bounce this down into a podcast format. If not, that sucks. If so, dank. But, I guess as far as podcast stuff goes that I could talk about, I need to start editing my little a little YouTube series idea that I was thinking of. I'm too fat for that. I shot some stuff. I'm not exactly happy with it. I think, you know, I do a thing that I rail on other creators doing, which is like kind of having that sense of fourth wall breaking or not taking the thing you're doing seriously. Like, I don't like when there's too many layers of irony in things. And I apparently seem to do that naturally because I just don't believe in myself. And so I kind of regret the way and the style that I have the current stuff filmed in, but I want to see if I can fix it in the edit. I want to see if I can make it better because it was a fun shoot. It's funny stuff. And maybe it'll be more other people's idea of me than it is my idea of me. So maybe it could work in that sense. But I just don't like I don't like the character of me that I was playing. Even though it was very true to life. very dorky, and kind of, it was too quippy all the time, you know, like just, it's like, why you always trying to say some kind of one-liners? Why are you always trying to do a reference here? You know, it's not needed. But that's just the way I talk. It's the way I am. And so I don't know. I think I have to figure out a little more of what I think my brand is, and also what my brand actually is. Because I don't know who I am, guys. I don't know who I am anymore. That's why I'm playing video games. And I think that stems from, you know, some sort of neglect as a child, probably. I've always been very attention-seeking. And I think that's one of the reasons I turned to stand-up comedy. But it's also one of the reasons I don't like stand-up comedy. I'm not a good stand-up. I'm funny. I have fun ideas. But I'm not like a, ooh, look at all these quippy jokes kind of comedians. I'm like a fun personality, and I like to reference stuff, and I like to joke around with people, but I'm not that type of dude. So I think that's why I'm branching out so much into podcasting and Twitch streaming and YouTube content, and even trying TikTok more often, because I just think that I make a good clown. I think I've said that before. Like, I'm a great clown. Everything else is kind of auxiliary. So I'm going to try my best to keep being the best clown that I can be. Problem is, I also have to have the technical skills for all this clown stuff I'm doing. I'm getting there. I'm learning. I'm a learning type of guy. I like to figure stuff out. So now, just my technical knowledge has to reach up towards my clowning. I'm decent at clowning around. Not so good at, like, show producing. Or video editing. Or stream setup. But I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. And hopefully, I can create fun, cool stuff for all the fun, cool people that I hope eventually watch and or listen to this stuff, you know? As long as I can be making one fan a month for the rest of my life, eventually I will have a very fulfilling life. Until then, you know, I got a solid group of people that like to support me, and your support means everything. Patreon.com/BobbyBenedict. Not really. I don't remember if I even have the Patreon going anymore, but you know, maybe once I get a little better at all this stuff that I've been doing, maybe I'll start it back up. Seems kind of weird to do right now, though. I got enough money. Other people need money. If anything, I'm just going to, like, I don't know, stream raid other people once I get a little more of a viewing, because I like giving. And because of that, I feel like sometimes I feel like fraudulent in trying to build my own audience, because I'm like, why would you keep trying to build your own audience of things when you could be helping other people figure things out, when you could keep being a producer and work behind the scenes to make other people and other personalities you believe in the best they can be? And honestly, my only answer for that is, like, I want to fail first so I know how to tell other people what not to do. That's been my podcasting experience, is like, okay, here's everything I did, here's why it sucked, here's what not to do, here's what I need from you. And so far, most people have failed that podcast filter that I put out. I'm like, here's the things you need to do. If you can't do those, don't do a podcast. Just keep listening to podcasts and supporting ones you enjoy. You know, like, if you can't have whoever you want to have on your podcast sit down for 6 straight weeks and record 6 episodes, how do you think 2 years is going to go? Don't do it. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a good producer. I think I'm good at producing things. I'm not so hot on literally every other part, like the editing and the streaming and the writing and all that. Maybe I'm good at the writing. I don't know. Point is, I'm a jack of all trades. but nowhere close to a master of any of them. I'm just jacking off on all the trades. Honestly, that's what I would say. It's just me whacking it as a tradesman. I'm not a tradesman, but I am whacking it. And I gotta say whacking it to keep that nice layer of irony so that we're not just straight up talking about masturbation on a Twitch stream like I'm 20. Though I am in my 20s. I'm still a young boy. Ugh. Yeah. This is going well. You know things are going good when you have to stop and comment on it. Yeah, I guess I'm already used to listening to my own voice too much. So I guess doing it with a video camera and while playing a game, while definitely an added layer to it, as long as I have properly outlined in my brain what the hell I'm trying to convey, I think it's not that bad. Boy, that guy has a lot of immortals. Sorry, people that are just listening, you don't get to see the amount of units that are going on. I'm real excited for the end game of this game that I'm playing, game Desert Strike inside StarCraft 2's custom stuff, because at the end, they take everyone's units all at once and send everything at each other. It's a big, lag-inducing thing that will probably crash because I'm doing so many streaming little things all at once. But we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I'm excited to see. I was really hoping I would reach the ending for the last game, but we lost handily because I was too busy getting nostalgic about the game Superfly. Which, I know I didn't go into details about it because I was too busy trying to figure out this whole thing. But Superfly, you are a fly. And you are trying to, not get smashed, or you were smashing the flies. Fuck, I don't remember it all. But there was, a few stages, and you just tried to get through them as a fly, either, collecting other bugs to eat or something. Just trying not to get smashed. God, I don't remember anything about this game that I'm trying to prop up, that I'm trying to say is good. But it was good, guys. It was a good game. There was a lot of good stuff on that Game Empire disc. When I was looking through the list of things that were on there, I was like, wow, I had terrible taste in video games as a child because there's way better stuff that I would enjoy playing now on there. One of the games that I remembered playing was this side-scrolling platformer, but you were a space guy. You're some sort of spaceman guy. I'm good at words. And the reason I remember it is because I was bad at it, for one. And two, like I said, our computer for the family was just in my dad's room. And sometimes I would just try sneaking in super early in the morning to play that game. But it was, it was an old DOS game, and so the audio from it was actually the beeps and boops from the computer itself, not coming through the speakers. So I would try to start it up, and it would just immediately out loud to the room, uncontrollable loud audio. And I would always forget that and immediately try to shut off the computer. I would sit there trying to hold the button for 3 seconds to shut everything down and run out of the room. But also, I was 6. There was no way I was being quiet. It was just the loudest computer music you could hear. Probably my heavy breathing, loud mouse clicks, bright-ass screen going, and then suddenly, after that loud music, hurried scrambling over all the plastic stuff, and then me shuffling out of the room. There is no way my dad was like, this is fine. Or maybe he was. Maybe he was real sad back then and couldn't catch me. I like to think that's how it went down. But yeah, that was fun. I think it was the Adventures of Captain Something's Adventure America, Super Adventure Captain Adventure Super Mega Awesome Captain. It was something lame like that. But yeah, there's so many games on there, and I tried to play all of them because I didn't have anything else. You know, it was either that or StarCraft, and I had blown through StarCraft. And before I could play any of the custom map stuff, like before the 2000s, there's a good 2-3 years, I didn't even know that my family had the internet. We didn't really. We had really slow dial-up so my dad could have his email, but like we didn't have good enough internet for me to go playing custom maps or anything. So I just stayed away from the online stuff and played through the campaign like 100 times. Like, so much so that my dad went and bought like that bootleg campaign pack called Insurrection that was not an official part of the campaigns. It was like made by a separate company using the StarCraft use map settings for the custom map creator. They had like three expansions, I think. There was Insurrection was the most popular. There's one called Stellar Forces, I think, that I never played and I can't find anymore. And there was a third one that I don't remember because it's, I think, even rarer than Stellar Forces. But I don't know. It's exciting. It's exciting to look back at that stuff. For me, it's fun to stroke the nostalgia, I guess. That's really what I'm going at. So I like stuff. I like things. I like things and stuff. I'm just filling the air here now, so it's not too awkward for audio listeners, but I'm just really focusing on the game. So this was a terrible idea. I will never do a stream/podcast at the same time ever again, because then I can't really talk about what's going on in the game too much. But still, it was again, this was all just to test all the streaming stuff. And it's working out. For a guy with like 0 people that watches stuff and is just trying to get into content creating, this isn't bad, guys. This is a cool setup. I'm glad that I can do this now. Maybe I'll go get a bunch of those old Game Empire games somehow. Play them on stream. Maybe I'll play all the RTSs, since that genre of game is dying out. Maybe I'll play all those. Who knows? Don't threaten me with a good time. Oh boy. Couple rounds left. We are winning pretty good. I am afraid, though, that they're going to use one of their special moves, which, like, destroys all the units on our side and or gives them more units somehow, and then we're real screwed. But I don't see anyone saving up that much for them, so I think we will prevail. Started going heavy on my my air siege guys. My Tempests, which shoot like a big ball of energy at people and wreck up air units, and then once there's no air units, they can shoot at the ground units. So we'll see how this strategy goes. I usually think like, I'll go to the air, really take them down hard. Hopefully. Oh boy. There's a fucking cat in the trash can. Butters, get out of there. You're the worst cat. You're always ruining my podcasts. Guys, don't get animals. Not really. Go save an animal from a shelter, or like pick up a stray cat somewhere. That's another thing I want to talk about. I didn't think about it till just now, and I don't ever really want to talk about it. But guys, don't get farmed animals. Don't go to a breeder. I don't give a fuck if you specifically look, ooh, I want this Labradoodle. Fuck you. Either find one at the pound, or get something else. Go to the pound, find the oldest and saddest dog they have there, and get that one. That dog deserves it. It didn't ask to be born. Not that humans asked to be born. But hell, if you don't get it right now, it's gonna die. And I would much rather have like a sad Wednesday with an old dog a year or two from now than knowing that I didn't do anything to stop it from getting gassed or whatever they do with dogs. I know they don't gas them. It's not that crazy. They shove like a line in their veins and stop their heart or whatever. But still, I don't know. The idea that people selectively breed specific dogs and pay thousands of dollars for them so that they can have their bullshit kids like yank on their ears and then put it down 2 years later because they're like, oops, we didn't realize this was going to bite our baby. You know, like, fuck you. Go rescue a pit bull. They don't bite as long as you don't teach them to bite. I mean, they're still going to bite. All dogs bite you eventually. Just don't be a bitch. Figure it out. Look after your dog. Like, your kid's probably going to hit you. Your dog's going to bite you. So, like, I don't know, just be a good parent and or dog parent. All around. Everything, all the time. Do good as a person and as a dog parent. I'm just mad at people. I'm just mad at people in general. And again, this is me. I'm getting on that negativity train. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to have a fun time. But man, sometimes, guys, sometimes it gets rough. Let's see. As far as music goes, I'm trying to get Sad Giant stuff out there more. You know, I'm trying to write new stuff. I've taken a little bit of time to like write differently. I'm trying to write in a different way, just to see if I can. It's going well, but honestly, I'm not well known enough for it to matter how I write. I just need to worry about writing good stuff that's fun for other people to listen to. That's my goal. That's my goal now. I was trying to get too complex. I was trying to do something that I thought other people would like. And that's fucking dumb, you know? There's no need for it. I'll be fine in whatever I'm doing. So that's where I am with music. Fuck it. I've been trying to just train my hands up again. You know, I have not been playing much at all during quarantine and stuff, so I got like 2 songs in and my hand was cramping up. I was like, wow, I can't play at all. That sucks. But I'm getting better. Got to train everything up. Oh, God. So, went to the psychiatrist today. They got to take your weight whenever you go in. I didn't realize how much fat I have been making myself. But yeah, I have really let myself go. I've gained 50 pounds this year. You can probably hear it in my voice. I am a chunky boy. It happens, you know. I got a nice new relationship. A little bit of stresses of her moving in and getting to know a new person and getting into a new routine, finding our new normal within the world crumbling. It makes sense that maybe punching stuff. Maybe it's okay that I let myself go a little bit, but not this much. I don't know if you guys know this, but 50 pounds is a lot. 50 pounds is enough to like if you eat enough Panda Express and then you feel your heartbeat. That's how much that I've been eating. So like, I've had to really cut back because I worry about my health for the future. If I don't start doing something now, it's gonna get real bad. So I did something. I went to the gym today. I've been trying to go steady again for like the last week and a half. You know, trying to go at least 3 times a week. I think I'm going to do okay. So far things have seemed okay. I overdid it last week. I was trying to, you know, relive my strongest points, see if I could pick up where I left off, and I can't. You know, it turns out you can't just go back to lifting like only 5 pounds under what the heaviest stuff you were lifting when you haven't been to the gym in 6 months. So yeah, I gave myself some tennis elbow in both arms, trying to do some tricep exercises. Basically, I was just taking Advil for 4 days straight, trying to calm my nerves. They were uncalmed, guys. They were screaming at me. Like, so much so that like I had to sleep on my back because my arms were so fucked. It was bad. Alright, it's time for sudden death. Let's see what happens. And we've got 465 units versus 365 units. There's 392 ground units on purple side, 295 on the yellow side. 72 air versus 68 air, purple to yellow. And I'm on the yellow team. So we'll see how it goes. Lagging out real hard. You know, we don't have air supremacy, but we do have a lot of strong units, and some of my ground ones are specifically just air sieging units. It is, you know, they're firing off. Lots of stuff on the screen being taken up. I'm surprised I haven't fully lagged out. Let's see, we got 321 versus 266, 267 ground to 245, 54 air versus 41 air. Though it looks like our yellow side is starting to enclose the purple side a little bit. You know, starting to creep up around their units. Ooh, ground is even. 196 to 194. 238 versus 226 altogether. Yellow is still... Oh, it's going to be real close, guys. It's going to be real close. If I lose them, it'll be sad. Ooh, my Tempests are holding strong. 27 versus 25 air. 17 to 20. We got the advantage now. 12 to 18. Ooh, I'm moving in on them. Ooh, we might have this. 46 to 72 altogether. My guys are closing in on their tanks, and we have it. I'm so glad I won on this stream, because it's kind of embarrassing to just stream and lose all the time. But that's what I do, guys. I stream and I lose. Because I am a proud loser. Not really. I try not to be a loser, because it makes me sad. Oh, I think those guys all left. Well, we win. Good job, me. Well, that is about all of the time and patience I have for streaming and podcasting. I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I really want to do that. So, thank you for tuning in. And if you aren't tuning in and you're watching this later, hope you enjoyed it. If you are listening on the podcast, sorry this one was so, I don't know, flippant of your podcast listening time. I'm just trying some new things. Got my new setup. Knew that I had to make a podcast, but didn't know what to do. So this is what you got. Thank everyone and everything. I love you. Okay, bye.